Hey everybody, welcome to Mighty Modern. I'm Corbin Hostler, and this is Bogles. This deck got something with Cat, and that's why I'm recording it this week. It's a deck that's existed in Modern for a very long time, and I've typically strayed away from, but it is a new deck in terms of having a new deck. It's one of the decks that got upgraded with Cat, and it's all this about this little one right here, Cartouche of Solidarity. When it comes into play, it's a one mana enchantment, great for the Bogles deck. You put a creature, a 1/1 white warrior token with vigilance into play. Your creature gets +1/+1 and has first strike. It doesn't seem like much. It's a sweet card in Cat Limited. It lets you pick up your trials and all that stuff. But it actually does a lot for this deck because for people who don't know, what Bogles is you play Bogles, notably Slippery Boggle. It's a 1/1 hexproof for 1. You also have Glade Cover Scout, 1/1 hexproof for 1. You also have Core Spirit Dancer. It's an 0/2, but it gets really big really fast with auras on it, and when you draw auras, you draw a card. When you play an aura, you draw a card. And after that, you just put a bunch of enchantments on your creatures. It's extremely straightforward. Ethereal Armor, Hyena Umbra, because giving your stuff totem armor is very important. We have the Rancor is obviously really good enchantment. We have the Spider Umbras, more totem armor. Daybreak Coronet, this is really the big one. It gets plus, if it's enchanted already and you put this on it, it gets +3/+3, first strike, vigilance, lifelink. It's very, very good. Then you have Spirit Mantle to round it out, which just gives you protection from creatures, allows you to end the game very quickly through chump blocks. And then we round it out with some Path to Exile for removal. In the lands, we have Dryad Arbor to fetch out, which I'll explain in a second, as well as Horizon Canopy for some card draw. So, Boggles has just been around forever. Like I said, I think it made the finals or of like a Worlds event right at the beginning of Modern. It's been around for a long time. It's a very straightforward, very powerful strategy, though, that's often very, very difficult to interact with. All of our opponents' fatal pushes and lightning bolts and all that stuff just doesn't deal with our 8/1 drops that are going to get very big and kill them very fast. What the deck does have a hard time with are board wipes and sweepers. So something like Supreme Verdict, that's why we need the totem armors, which, you know, if a creature would die instead, you remove all that and it doesn't die, and you lose the enchantment. So it's a really good way to protect it. But typically the bane of the deck is Liliana the Veil. It just makes you sacrifice a creature. It gets around totem armor. It gets around your all of your hexproof, and it just destroys you. And then what came out recently that has sort of pushed the deck even further down is Blessed Alliance. So I'll go ahead and pull up Blessed Alliance here to show anyone who doesn't know. It's actually a really awesome Modern sideboard card. But so for 2 mana, you get 1 effect, and for 2 more mana, you can escalate it. Target player gains 4 life. Untap up to target creatures. Target opponent sacrifices an attacking creature. So, Blessed Alliance is making a lot of appearances in sideboards of decks that can play it because it has this ability to gain life against burn. That's very important. It sort of takes your your life gain spot, but it also has all this value where it kills a Death Shadow that's attacking you, and it happens to blow out Boggles. So it's this card that is flexible enough to go into a bunch of sideboards, but it happens to just wreck this deck. Until Cartouche of Solidarity comes along. Now all of a sudden we have 4 1-drop enchantments that are completely playable in this deck that wants to just load up with enchantments, especially thanks to Ethereal Armor giving +1/+1 for each enchantment on it. But it creates a token. And yeah, it may turn on their removal or whatever, and that's usually not a big deal. But in sideboarded games where they're playing with Blessed Alliance and that's their plan, now all of a sudden having access to that token is really, really huge, and allows you to play around, the Blessed Alliance, and that's also what the Dryad Arbor is for, to fetch it up. And the Cartouche of Solidarity really helps the deck's resilience because they're going to board out all their spot removal. They're going to board in Blessed Alliance and the lightning bolts or the fatal pushes or whatever. They know that doesn't do anything against the deck, so they board that out and they bring in the wraths and the whatever, right, and the Blessed Alliance, because that's their big answer for you. But now all of a sudden you just have this 1/1 token that completely messes up their Blessed Alliance plan and kills people. So that's the deck. It's very straightforward main deck. Moving to the sideboard, 4 of Line of Sanctity against the discard decks that will discard all of your good cards. Stony Silence for Affinity and Lantern. Rest in Peace for the graveyard decks. Spellskite when you need additional protection, probably also fine against burn. Natural State when you need to kill more artifacts, enchantments. It's a pretty flexible card. And then Gaddock Teague, which is great. Non-creature spells that convert mana cost of 4 or greater can't be cast. So you board that in against the relic decks, or the Wrath decks, and no longer can they Wrath because they just simply can't cast a card with a mana cost 4 or greater, and now they have to kill the Gaddock Teague just to kill you, to be able to cast their Wrath in the first place. So that's the deck. Cartouche Solidarity really took it up a notch, and I think it's might be pretty decently positioned right now. So we're going to go ahead and give it a shot and see how it does in the queues. So thanks for watching. Here we go.